there is going to be a Cosmos SDK network effect, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be wonderful. What I expect, and I think I gave a prediction late last year, is that we'll see 200 IBC connected blockchains by the end of this year.
Guys, welcome to This Week in Cosmos. And today it's a very, very special day for Fabian and me because we have the CEO of Tendermint on the show. Hello, Peng. How are you doing?
Hey there. Very happy to be here. I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah, we're doing great as well. And it's an honor to have you on this show, and super excited to talk about the Cosmos ecosystem and also Tendermint and what you guys are working on. But let's start with a very simple question. And this question is especially for the newcomers to the Cosmos ecosystem, because the Cosmos ecosystem is growing so fast at the moment. There are so many new people and they don't know what are the projects, the core projects that are working on Cosmos right now. So could you describe Tendermint's role in the Cosmos ecosystem a little bit?
Yeah, so that's a problem that we've been noticing as well. You know, the ecosystem has such great foundations built on the Cosmos SDK, and there's so many amazing projects launching, you know, on a weekly basis. It's very difficult to keep track of it all. So there's two ways I can explain what Tendermint does. I'll start with a joke, which is that, you know, Tendermint is for mere mortals to experience Cosmos. We're here to make the Cosmos ecosystem accessible to more people, you know, to more newcomers, to get to use all these amazing new protocols that, you know, talented engineers are building. So, you know, we're there building UIs, and we're also there making developer tools, easier to use developer tools to get more people on board building more blockchains in Cosmos.
Yeah, I think this is what many people always forget also, because the terms are so different, like Cosmos, Tendermint. So many people might be confused, but as we can see, you build a lot of cool stuff, but I think it's interesting to know, what is your current focus right now?
Yeah. So brief recap, you know, Tendermint was the company that came up with the idea of Cosmos. The original, you know, founder and CEO, Jae Kwon, and co-founder Ethan Buckman created the Cosmos ecosystem. And Tendermint is still around, you know, 7 years later, and we're still focused on that mission, right, of bringing more people onto the Cosmos ecosystem, teaching them about the software, teaching them how to use it, participate in it. You know, wonderful channels like DeFi Times and other YouTubers and lots of, you know, strong contributors on Twitter have made our work a lot easier. But at the same time, you know, in addition to doing great comms, we also need to have, you know, great accessible products. So, you know, currently we're focusing on building these products. Current flagship products are called Starport and Emeris. Starport is a developer tool and aimed at helping developers and newcomers to blockchain scaffold blockchains quickly and easily. You know, it comes with a built-in wallet, etc., to let you start hacking away quickly on your business. On the other hand, we have Emeris. This is the wallet meant for the average person coming into Cosmos with no idea how all these tools fit together and how they work. You know, Cosmos has insane technology, and I believe it's going to be the winner, you know, when all the dust settles. But at the same time, it's difficult to use, right? There's still a lot of infrastructure that needs to be built. And, you know, we're trying to present a way, like an interface, to show people this is how you can access, you know, all your assets across all the Cosmos. And, you know, here are the things you can do with it. You know, you can stake with it, you can vote with it, you can participate in exchanges, etc. So that's Emeris.
We will talk about Emeris in a couple of minutes, because we also have, we started the Twitter poll and also a question on Twitter where we asked our community which questions they had for you. And one of these questions was, what's the state on Emeris? So we're going to talk about this later. But first, let's focus on another topic, like a high level topic of the Cosmos ecosystem. And this topic is, how do you imagine the Cosmos ecosystem in 5 to 10 years? Because obviously a lot will change in the coming years. And I know you have a strong opinion on that. So where do you see like the blockchain space and also Cosmos, IBC, Cosmos SDK space going into the future?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So what I'm really excited about are builders and people who want to create something new on blockchain. I think that the reason why Cosmos serves builders so well is the same reason that Web 2.0 tools have served the web so well. Simple things like CSS and HTML, so that you design and launch a web page very easily and simply is what allowed the web to flourish. And I think with Web 3, we're going to see very much the same parallels. My argument is that for most projects, most larger projects anyway, they're all going to want their own blockchain, primarily because it offers them sovereignty and freedom to do whatever they want with it. Similarly, to launching a website on your own, right? For most people today, right, in Web 2, most of their browsing and communications, et cetera, happen on centralized platforms, like Facebook or Twitter or Reddit, and that will likely happen in Web 3 as well. We're going to have our winners in the social network space in Web 3. But when we talk about builders and what they're building, they're going to be out there building the websites of Web 3. They're going to be blockchain apps instead of web apps. And really the only ecosystem that can make that happen is the Cosmos ecosystem, right? Because how many people do you see, let's say building some sort of, I don't know, widget on Google, right? Or building, some sort of smart contract on a shared platform today. There's not a lot of that. You might argue that maybe GitHub is similar to that, right? GitHub is, in fact, where you store your code, but you can't really execute code on GitHub. But yeah, you don't see a lot of people using tools that force you to use one platform or another, right? So there are, what you see is what you get. Website builders out there where like Squarespace or others, right? Where you can have a website build and host it somewhere. But the vast majority of all websites are hosted on bare metal or hosted on VMs, right? And that's the future I see coming for Web3. So how do we get there? We need much better developer tools. I think it is true that building websites is a lot easier than building a blockchain application. But I also believe there are many ways we can still make blockchain application development a lot easier. The Starport tool, which we've been building for the last couple of years, has been the starting point to this. And we hope to continue to expand on that and make it even easier to use. Because at the end of the day, there are many ways to launch a new token in Cosmos, right? You can do that via smart contracts today relatively easily with a web UI. But you're always going to be stuck on the platform that you launched it on. Let's say it is, for example, Evmos or Juno, right? You can launch a smart contract on either of these platforms. Evmos being, Ethereum smart contracts, and Juno being Cosmwasm smart contracts. But you'll always be regulated by, the owners of the Juno token or the Evmos token. Whenever a governance vote happens, right, you don't really have a voice. I mean, if you run a successful smart contract, you might get more tokens and you'll be able to have a bigger position and a bigger voice on voting on the future of the platform, but it's never really going to be yours. So, if you're able to take on a little bit more work, feel a little bit more ambitious, then you should launch a sovereign chain yourself, right? Create the token yourself, launch it yourself on your own community of validators. And that really guarantees that, you'll be around for the long run. Because no matter what anyone votes, IBC is permissionless and your tokens will always be able to travel across the internet of blockchains. So I think that's always super compelling.
There is a lot to unpack here, but let's focus on one thing, because we will talk about Cosmwasm in a minute. Let's talk a little bit about this aspect of launching your own chain. I think this is like one of the biggest strengths of the Cosmos ecosystem, that it is quite easy for developers to do so. So the Cosmos SDK really proved its power throughout 2021. We saw more and more Cosmos SDK chains joining the ecosystem. So my question now is, what are you expecting for 2022? And moreover, are you basically expecting somewhat of an Cosmos SDK network effect?
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly how I would put it. there is going to be a Cosmos SDK network effect, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be wonderful. What I expect, and I think I gave a prediction late last year, is that we'll see 200 IBC connected blockchains by the end of this year. I think the number's around 30, right? Recently passed 30 recently. So we've got 170 chains to go and about 11 months to do so. It's a lot, but the way this network effect works, right, is the more developers that learn about the Cosmos SDK, the more chains that will end up creating. Because I think the natural progression of development in the Cosmos ecosystem goes, someone has a cool idea, they're an engineer perhaps, and they build a team of engineers to build that idea. And what happens is that these engineers who were brought on to build this project, they end up having cool ideas on their own, and they end up spinning out and creating their own project. So with every new project that comes in the Cosmos ecosystem, they bring with them, 10, 20, 50, 30 developers, and each of them, maybe a third of them, end up launching their own projects. So every project brings on 10 more projects, and it just keeps growing from there. And I think the coolest thing is that you rarely see people actually leave the Cosmos ecosystem. They come in, they learn about the tech, they love the tech, and because they don't have to pay anyone, they don't have to buy a token to use the tech, they stay here and build something, and they're comfortable with it, and they gain all the upside themselves, to them and their community. It's a no-brainer. And even people that I see leave the Cosmos ecosystem end up coming back at a later date, because you see that's where the value is right now. So I think this is amazing to see, and I really, want to welcome more people to join us.
Yeah, I really like that, because it kind of reminds me of like Bitcoiners moving to Ethereum, and then they never move back. And then we have all these crypto people who come into the Cosmos ecosystem, and then they get like red pilled. And then suddenly they will never leave the Cosmos ecosystem, because Cosmos ecosystem is so beautiful, so nice, and we're growing so fast at the moment. And I definitely agree with you here. Your prediction is that we will have 200 IBC connected chains by the end of 2022. And I do agree with you here as well. And that's also what Jack Samplin predicted on our show quite a few weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
So let's
Glad
see.
we align.
Yeah. So let's see if that plays out. I hope so. And now let's focus on some community questions. We have a very cool question from the Mango Tree 66 on Twitter. And his question is, or her question is, what's the current state on Emeris?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Emeris is deep in development right now, but there's some really cool things coming down the pipeline. So, I think Emeris is definitely a little bit feature limited right now. That's why it's still in beta. The primary thing it supports is the ability to use the Gravity DEX on the Cosmos Hub. And secondly, which I think doesn't get enough noise, is that it's really the best way to transfer tokens across the Internet of blockchains. There's really no other interface out there that makes it as intuitive to send tokens from the Cosmos Hub to Akash or to Osmosis and back, or through multiple chains at once. Right now, there's not much you can do by sending your tokens across multiple chains, but this feature was built with the future in mind. So what's coming up though? I think, as most people would expect, staking and governance are big things that are coming soon. I'm really looking forward to this myself, because with every new chain that launches, I'm faced with a new UI to claim my airdrops, and it's confusing. It's difficult to use, and now I have I think I have 5 pinned tabs right now of different staking UIs that I use on a regular basis to claim my staking rewards, send them to a DEX, things like that, that I think many people, I think deep in the Cosmos ecosystem, are having to deal with right now. It's not really ideal, and Emeris is working really hard to solve that. Did I mention airdrops? Right, I think an airdrop tracker is another thing that we all could use. I think there have been great community efforts to document how to get airdrops, as they come out over the weeks and months. But imagine there's an interface where you can claim them, one at a time across multiple networks. I would love that. I think many people would love that. To be able to support the ecosystem and at the same time be able to benefit from it is very hard right now, right? I think even I would assume for your team, right? Anytime you spend on DeFi time is time that you can't spend tracking airdrops or something else, playing around with your tokens. So that's really exciting to me, things that really improve the user experience.
And one thing I would like to add here is if we really get this like 200 IBC connected chains, like there will be quite a big portion of these chains who will do an airdrop.
I agree. And I would say a third, maybe even half the chains would do airdrops. So you can imagine you'll have.
And then we need like a standardized tool like Emeris to claim all of them, because I'm not claiming 100 airdrops this year manually.
No, I think
so much work.
I think half the airdrops I've gotten, I haven't been able to claim at all, just because I haven't had the time. Yeah, unfortunately. And then there's some other small bugs here and there, like for example, sometimes staking UIs don't support ledgers, and a lot of my tokens are on hardware wallets, so things like that need to be cleared up. And we're really working on having Emeris be the solution to your problems. Beyond that, DEX aggregation, there are multiple DEXs in the Cosmos ecosystem. Right, I think one that's getting more noise recently is Juno Swap. So we want to ensure we're able to support multiple DEXs in Emeris, and then allow the user to choose which exchange they want to make the trade. Perhaps we can even showcase which one has the best exchange rate for you, things like that, just to make your life across the interchain a lot easier.
Yeah, that sounds so cool, and I really agree with this airdrop problem, because sometimes I almost forget about airdrops. I was like, hey, I'm eligible for the airdrop. So you just realize that you're eligible for the airdrop, but you're just able to claim it like months afterwards, and some airdrops just allow you to claim parts of the portion. And then
you'll forget about it later.
You just forget about it.
Did I claim all of that?
Yeah. Exactly. That's such a big deal in the Cosmos ecosystem. So I would love to see Emeris solving this problem. But
one other problem that I think we're spending a lot of time thinking about is auto compounding of staking rewards. So this takes a little bit, of engineering work on the Cosmos SDK front, but the idea is you would be able to, as a user, grant permissions to, let's say, a smart contract. I mean, we haven't decided on how this will be implemented yet, but essentially you'll be able to auto compound your rewards and restake tokens regularly, automatically. So it could be nice for you, right? If you want to go on a vacation and not have to deal with your tokens for a week or two, this could auto stake your rewards, and perhaps even auto, compound your liquidity provider positions in the future. I think that could be nice.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that as well. I mean, the problem with Cosmos is that it's becoming so big at such an insane speed that especially like dealing with DeFi applications is super hard, and to make the most out of it is also not that easy. So that's like one more reason to be excited about Emeris. But I want to move on with one more community question. It's from B Compassion, and he would love to hear your thoughts on adopting Cosmwasm to the hub for liquid staking.
Yeah, that's a good question. So from what I can tell, I did look this up recently on the Cosmos Hub roadmap, not for the Q1 upgrade, but for the Q2 upgrade. There's currently a bullet point to add like a permissioned version of Cosmwasm on the Cosmos Hub, right? And what does that mean? That means essentially the idea that the Cosmos Hub governance would be able to vote whether if a specific address can, deploy a Cosmwasm smart contract. For example, you might have a team that wants to deploy, a way to use liquid staking vouchers on the hub in some way, right? And that would be, it's currently proposed as the first use case of Cosmwasm on the hub. So my perspective. So personally, I think that it's complicated. The ideal solution really is to have an interchain secured blockchain that uses the Cosmos Hub security that has Cosmwasm on that, and then for us to use that chain to enable, sort of Cosmwasm access next to the hub, adjacent to the hub, and secured by the hub. One of the issues with putting Cosmwasm onto the hub is, it affects a lot of dependencies in the future, right? Cosmwasm, the project, is not being developed by the Interchain team. It's developed by the Confio team, right, led by Ethan Frey. And, you know, it doesn't always release on the same cadence as Cosmos SDK releases, right? So the moment we add a very big dependency like Cosmwasm on the Cosmos hub, it means that we might not be able to upgrade the hub as often as we want to in the future. We may be blocked on Cosmwasm upgrading to this latest version of the Cosmos SDK, right? So that's one big thing to consider. And then beyond that, you know, just the idea of application-specific blockchains, right, has always been really core to Cosmos. And the more stuff you stack onto one chain, you know, the more that you have to take care and, you know, monitor and test before you launch any additional new upgrades or updates to the Cosmos hub. So that's always something to be aware of. My personal stance is I don't think it should be on the hub. I don't think Cosmwasm should be on the hub, but you know, I would go whatever the Cosmos hub atom holders decide at the end of the day. You know, if everyone thinks it's a good idea, then I'm going to go with it. But I think there's a lot of reasons to be hesitant.
Yeah, that's a very diplomatic answer, I would say. But still, it's very interesting to get this insights from you because, of course, in the first place, we all love Cosmwasm. It's an amazing way to make the Cosmos ecosystem much bigger. But on the other hand, I just understand that you guys are more focused on basically making on focusing on an interchain future where you say, okay, the Cosmos hub still is like the hub in the middle that basically coordinates all the different chains and also like helps with tools like Emeris to bring everything together and not to bring smart contracts over to the Cosmos hub. So that's very interesting to see, and also interesting to know that they are like somewhat of dependencies that people have to consider. Mm-hmm. So I think that's very interesting to know.
The next feature, I guess coming in Q1, Interchain Accounts feature is much more compelling to me and might help solve some of these problems for us, right? So Interchain Accounts at a high level is the idea that you can remotely control your accounts on other blockchains with one account, right? So you can, by operating a Cosmos hub address, you know, control your liquidity positions on Osmosis, or, you know, use Evmos potentially all the way from the Cosmos hub. So I think with tools like this and with further infrastructure built around interchain accounts, you know, having Cosmwasm not on the hub, but secured by the hub will work for, you know, simplifying upgrade cycles, simplifying dependencies, but also still give users the user experience that they're looking for, right? Of having one account that's able to use Cosmwasm for them.
Interchain accounts, I think this is like one very interesting aspect. I mean, let's talk a little bit about your roadmap, because again, we see more and more your whole vision about Cosmos. You're focusing on the interchain future with interchain accounts, with an interface like Emeris that is super user friendly for the people. So can you give us some hints of your roadmap? So when interchain accounts, sir?
So disclaimer, I'm not working on interchain accounts, but from what I hear from the Cosmos Hub team led by Billy at Interchain, interchain accounts will be deployed on the hub in Q1 in the upcoming Theta upgrade. So if you have an upcoming call with Billy, or you might just wait because we're speaking to him actually and working on a blog post about this upcoming upgrade. Yeah, so just stay tuned. You'll hear more soon, but it's definitely coming Q1.
That's cool. And like in general, like let's speak a little bit about your things at Tendermint. I mean, Emeris, we just got more details thanks to you about the current state of the project. So what is to expect in the near future? So what can we expect from Tendermint?
Yeah, so I talked a lot about Emeris. The project I talked less about, which I can go into a little bit more detail about right now, is Starport. So Starport right now is fairly easy to understand, right? It's a tool that enables more people to use the Cosmos SDK. And last we checked, I think in December, there have been over 422 blockchains created with Starport already. You know, of course, the vast majorities have never hit mainnet, but quite a number of them have been reaching mainnet over the past few months. So that's really cool. But at the same time, we're noticing this big problem, right? A lot of people are playing around with Starport. They're building a chain, launching it locally on their computer. Hundreds of them, over 400 of them. But, I think only 10 or 15 of them have used Starport and launched a mainnet, right? So there is a vast number of chains that are not making it to mainnet. And, we think there's many reasons why. But one of those reasons is that it takes a lot of work, actually, to build a validator set. It's a lot of business development work, it's a lot of partnerships work, it's a lot of talking, and it's a lot of reaching out to teams that are super busy. I think validator teams are overloaded right now, right? With every chain that launches, right, as individuals, we get some airdrops, and even managing airdrops is difficult. Imagine being a validator and having to validate, all these new chains as they come out. That's a huge amount of work. So it's very difficult for a lot of new developers, especially new to the ecosystem, to get in touch with some of the more prestigious Cosmos Hub validators. That's the thing that's not working because there's just not enough time in the day. So, I've mentioned this quite a long time ago, but we're still working on this application that will connect chain developers to validators in a much more streamlined and easy way. So, like I said before, validators are still very busy. So even if there was an easy way to connect to validators, they might not have the time of day for you. But the idea with this sort of platform is that we'll also educate and train a new cohort of validators who are ready to go and ready to validate for new projects. And through a system like this, right, balancing the supply and demand between, chain development teams and validator teams, we're going to get a lot more chains that actually hit mainnet. And that's what I'm really excited about.
I think this also sounds very exciting to some viewers. So what is a good way to get involved with Tendermint? What is a good way to learn more about what you guys are building, and maybe also to get in touch with the rest of your community?
Yeah, so you can follow our Twitter handle. It's Tendermint HQ. And that's where we'll post almost all of our news. If you want to get in closer touch with the Starport project, if you like, what you're hearing about this project, I definitely recommend Twitter again. Starport HQ is that handle. And similarly for Emeris HQ, you can follow and learn more about those products in particular. We have a lot more big news coming that I'm not allowed to talk about. But yeah, if you follow us, you'll definitely hear more soon about these.
Guys, you heard it here first. And as always, you can find all the links in the description below. And yeah, Peng, it was such a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for sharing all the insights with us. And I think we have to make an episode very, very soon about all the things that you're not allowed to talk about today.
Happy to be on again. Thank you so much, JURI and Fabian. It was great. A pleasure.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, man.